Service Commission, SSC Combined Graduate Level Exam and CLAT examinations. So do visit AKS IAS Academy and also the website of AKS IAS Academy. And about me, I am Sandeep Bhushan and my credentials are I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I teach international relations and internal security and the analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And this session will certainly help you because throughout my session I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases, and these keywords and the key phrases will certainly help you to identify the factual, analytical and conceptual questions which will be very useful for prelims examinations. And while you imbibe the keywords and the key phrases in your answer writing, definitely you will score higher marks in the mains examination. So this session, that is daily news analysis at AKS IAS Academy, will certainly fetch you to score higher marks in the mains 2020, as well as it will be useful for you for prelims and mains 2021. So do follow the entire session and you will be benefited by the daily news analysis. And this session, as I said, it is a daily newspaper analysis of the Hindu newspaper of today's, that is 27th November 2020. And before we get into the daily news analysis, we would look at the quote of the day, and the quote of the day is: don't expect to see a change. Don't expect to see a change if you don't make one. So definitely what is very important is let there be a change. Let you make a change. Only then you can expect a change. So you make a change and you expect a change is the quote of the day. And before I get into the topic, I would say very good morning to all. That is good morning to one who are in the live and also in the live chat. Gauri Naidu, Malvika Sajivan and everyone who are in the live and live chat. A warm welcome to you all to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And now we'll focus at the newspaper, that is the analysis DNA of the Hindu newspaper. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has now pitched once again, he has emphasized once again on to the one nation, one election. So definitely Prime Minister is wanting that there should be one election for the entire nation, and he says that now it is a need of the country for one nation, one election, because if that is not happening and if there is election every few months in India, that having election in every few months in India would hamper the development work. So he has made it very clear that time and again elections in India would hamper the development works which the union government or the central government would focus on. Rather than that, he wanted, or he has pitched in for, or he has emphasized on one nation, one election. And he has emphasized this, or he has made a statement while he was addressing the concluding session of the 80th All India Presiding Officers Conference. So he has gone ahead with a video conference with the All India Presiding Officers Conference, and there he said that single voter list is important for the entire country, so that the single voter list will make sure that wasting of time and money will not be actually happening, but making sure that it would save time and money. So he has emphasized on single voter list. So definitely the two keywords here are one nation, one election and a single voter list, which would save time and money. And in the video conference, the Prime Minister has also asked the presiding officers to put in their mind to simplify the language in the statute books, wherein in the statute books it should be of having or allowing a easier process to weed out the redundant laws. That means to remove the laws which are not really applicable to this generation or to this time, or which do not really act or do not have any place at this moment. So definitely the presiding officers were being asked by the Prime Minister to come up with a various process or easier process to remove the redundant, that means which are in laws which are not really applicable to this scenario. And he has also emphasized the need for coordination of all the three wings in the country, that is the legislative, executive and judiciary. So definitely the keywords what you need to focus is one nation, one election, single voter list, and also to simplify the language of the statute books, to weed out the redundant laws, and need for coordination between three wings, that is legislature, executive and judiciary. And the other news is that we have looked at that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has had a video conference with the chief ministers of the various states in India, and he has asked the chief ministers to come up with the program so that the distribution and the dispersal of the COVID-19 vaccine would take place in the next quarter, or in another 4 to 6 months it would come up. So he was gearing up the entire state administrative machinery to make sure that they are ready for the distribution and dispersal of the COVID-19 vaccine. And in regards to that, the news of today is that the first wave of vaccination, this is the keyword, first wave of vaccination would cover 30 crore of Indians. So definitely the first wave, which the union government and the central governments are together working out to finalize a plan to make sure that it will cater to, or it will administer the vaccination to 30 crore Indians in the first wave. And these 30 crore consist of the healthcare workers, police personnel and the individuals who are above 50 years and the one who are younger but who are underlying with various illness, that they are vulnerable to various illness. So definitely the 30 crore people would be of healthcare workers, personnel, police personnel, above 50 years of individuals and younger people with who are having various illness. And this meeting was organized by the Ministry of Science along with the Confederation of Indian Industry, that is Ministry of Science and CII have gone ahead with organizing a meeting wherein they have identified the 30 crore Indians, or who would fit into the 30 crore Indians, so that the first wave of the vaccination would be administered to these people, that is the 30 crore Indians. And both of them, that is the Ministry of Science and the Confederation of Indian Industry, has finalized a committee, and this is the important for the keyword for the mains examination. So National Vaccine Committee has been finalized and it will get into the mode of coming up with the broad blueprint for the first wave of vaccination to be administered to, which will cover 30 crore Indians. And the National Vaccine Committee will be headed by VK Paul, and these vaccines are likely to be available in numbers from March, that is March 2021 to May 2021, and gradually it will be progressed, or it will be rolled out progressively across the country by a program called as National Immunization Program. So what is very important here that you need to focus the keywords is that National Vaccine Committee is one of the keyword which you need to focus, and it should be part of your answers for the mains examination. How the country is gearing up, how the union government and the state administration are gearing up for the administering of the vaccine, which would be ready in another 4 to 6 months to administer, or which will cover 30 crore Indians. And definitely this will be taken up by a program called as National Immunization Program, that is administering of the COVID-19 vaccines to cover 30 crore Indians through National Immunization Program under a committee which will be finalizing a broad blueprint of how to cover the 30 crore Indians is National Vaccine Committee. And now if you segregate the 30 crore Indians, 1 crore will be of health workers, frontline workers, and such as Central Police, Armed Forces, Home Guards and Civil Defense would be of 2 crores. So the another 26 crores are called as, or they are segregated as priority groups. Please do understand, the priority groups consist of 26 crore people, and these are the one who are below or above the age of 50, because the individuals who are above the age of 50 are definitely, they are having significant challenges. That is, India will have a significant challenge, because most of the people who are above age 50 are with cardiovascular disease and diabetes. So definitely this is a concern now, because adverse effect, we need to, what is that the committee or the national immunization program will or should concentrate is the adverse effects of administering the COVID-19 vaccine, because the above age of 50 years are the one which are which comorbidity, that is with having cardiovascular and diseases and diabetes. So this is the one which is the significant challenge once the COVID-19 vaccine is in the distribution, dispersal and administered, so that it becomes a significant challenge, and that group is called as the priority group. And below 50 years are with significant comorbidity, that means having definitely other diseases or illness already existing, constitute of 1 crore. So entire 1 crore of health workers, and then 2 crores from Central Police, Armed Forces, Home Guards, Civil Defense, and then 26 crore from the priority groups, and the 1 crore below 50 years, total constitutes 30 crores. So in the first wave of the vaccine, they would be administering 30 crore people. And definitely Prime Minister Narendra Modi has recently spoken to all the Chief Ministers through the video conferencing to set up the steering committees and the block-wise task forces. So that these are the 2 keywords that the Prime Minister has emphasized in regards to asking the Chief Ministers and the administrators or the state administration to set up the steering committees and block-wise task forces, so that the state government should be ready and prepared for the distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine and dispersal of all the vaccine which will be available once they come into action. So definitely the keywords here are steering committees to be set up and block-wise task forces to be set up. So this is very important news, that how or what are the different people which constitutes 30 crore, or the patients or individuals who would be constituting the 30 crores part of the first wave of the COVID-19 vaccine. And there is another news which talks about High Court has taken over executive function, and this is the concern being raised by the Andhra Pradesh state government against the Andhra Pradesh High Court. Please do understand, it is the Andhra Pradesh state government which has raised the concern against the Andhra Pradesh High Court in the Supreme Court. So YS Jagannath Reddy government has told the Supreme Court that the AP High Court has virtually taken over the executive functions. So here what is that you need to focus is that how the Andhra Pradesh government is making a petition in the Supreme Court against the Andhra Pradesh High Court, that the Andhra Pradesh High Court has virtually taken over the executive functions. Here the keyword is executive function of the state, and the state government has complained about the High Court, that the High Court is deciding to, or it is assuming the power which is like which is for taking into consideration that there is a construction of a guest house. So when the construction of the guest house is taking place, which is innocuous, that means, what do you mean by innocuous? It means that the construction of the guest house does not cause any harm, or it does not upset anybody. So in regards to this innocuous construction of a guest house also, this High Court has asked, or it has taken, or it has assumed power, and it is now taking over the executive functions of the state. That is what is being complained by the state government, that is YS Jagan Mohan Reddy, Andhra Pradesh government, in the Supreme Court against the Andhra Pradesh High Court. Now the state, that is the state government, that is YS Jagan Mohan Reddy's government, has referred in the Supreme Court about the 2008 judgment. So what is important is that you need to focus at the 2008 judgment of the Supreme Court. What the Supreme Court has said it in 2008 is that it has said that in the name of judicial activism, judges cannot cross their limits and try to take over functions, that is executive functions, which belongs to another organ of the state. So definitely it is legislative, executive and judiciary. So these are the three organs, and now the state government, that is the petition or the petitioner in the Supreme Court, has referred to the 2008 judgment of the Supreme Court itself. What it said, that the judges cannot cross the limit and try to take over the executive function, and that is what the AP government has challenged or complained the High Court, saying that the Andhra Pradesh High Court has virtually taken over the executive function of the state. So what is this executive function? That is to go ahead with the construction of a guest house, So definitely AP government is not happy with the AP High Court's decision, and thereby it has complained and petitioned in the Supreme Court. And the petitioner said that the High Court has completely ignored what the Supreme Court has said it or warned, or the Supreme Court verdict in the 2008 judgment. And it says that the courts has to respect the co-equal organs. That means the judiciary has to respect the executive. That is what the petitioner is talking or making a statement, that being judiciary being one of the organ has to respect the executive organ of the state, so that there would be reframing from assuming such power. That means executive should not assume power. What actually the judiciary is trying to assume power over executive. So definitely the petitioner is talking about how the judiciary should not take over or assume powers of the executive functions. And the petitioner or the state has been represented, state government has been represented in the Supreme Court by an advocate, Mahfuz Hassan Naski, and he has contended that the High Court had seriously violated the doctrine of separation of powers. So this is the keyword what you need to focus as polity prelims perspective. So one is that the judiciary has taken over the executive function of the state is one of the keyword what you need to focus, and then look it from mains perspective. And the other one is that the advocate has spoken about that the High Court has seriously violated the doctrine of separation of powers. So this is the keyword for prelims as well as mains perspective, UPSC from polity point of view. And why all this has come up, and why, that is the High Court order or High Court's AP High Court order, and then why the AP government has approached the Supreme Court and filed a petition in the Supreme Court and challenging and complaining about the Andhra Pradesh High Court decision, is because the bone of contention is, that means all this issue is because on November 2nd the High Court has given a direction on November 2nd to the state government, that is Andhra Pradesh state government, to submit the entire construction plan. Please you understand here, the AP High Court has asked the state government by coming up with the direction. AP High Court has come up with the direction on November 2nd, giving or asking the state government to submit the entire construction plan. What construction plan? of a guest house which is proposed in Visakhapatnam, and thereby now the Andhra Pradesh government is saying that the executive functioning, or that is construction of the guest house, is being stopped, or the judiciary is overpowering into the executive function. That is what the Andhra Pradesh government is raising the point in the Supreme Court, saying or referring back to the 2008 judgment, which says that the Supreme Court has said that the judges cannot cross the limit and try to take over the executive function. Now why? Because the High Court, Andhra Pradesh High Court, is asking the entire construction plan of the construction of the guest house in Visakhapatnam. So here, please do understand the executive functions which the Andhra Pradesh government says Andhra Pradesh High Court has taken over the executive function of the state, and the other one is the 2008 judgment of the Supreme Court, and the other one that we need to focus is definitely the doctrine of separation of powers. So these are the three keywords which you need to focus from polity, prelims and mains perspective. This is how you need to make sure that you are trying to analyze various aspects in a news and analyze the news in such a way. And D. Suvarna, Madhu and Harika are joined. A warm welcome to you all also. And there is another news which talks about a drug, that is heroin, which has been seized by the NCB, and this was an operation that is a week long operation of Indian Coast Guard vessels, and this Indian Coast Guard vessel has taken up this operation in the sea with aerial support, which has been backed by the central intelligence agencies, and at last in the week long operation they have zeroed, or they have totally pinpointed the Sri Lankan mechanized boat which was transporting a huge consignment of heroin, that is drug, from the coast of Thoothukudi on the November 24th. So this was definitely a week-long operation which the Indian Coast Guard vessels, along with the backing of the central intelligence agencies, have taken control over the Sri Lankan mechanized boat which was having a huge consignment of heroin. And definitely it was a well coordinated operation between or involving the defense, intelligence and other drug law enforcement agencies. So these are the three which have come together in a very well coordinated operation which has taken place, and they have zeroed or cornered the Sri Lankan mechanized boat which was certainly carrying a huge consignment. And definitely they have, that means this operation was on a specific input that a Pakistani based smugglers would be transporting a huge consignment of drugs through the Sri Lankan boat to the western countries and Australia. And definitely the Coast Guard personnel have narrowed down through two aircrafts the Sri Lankan boat which was carrying the huge consignment of drug, and the boat is Shenaya Duwa, which was located at Thoothukudi coast, which was 20 nautical miles of Kanyakumari. So again, what is important is geography map based. There would be a possibility of framing a question based on the Thoothukudi coast, which is just 20 nautical miles of Kanyakumari. And preliminary investigation reveals that there could be a possibility of 100 kg heroin and other drug related substances which were transferred from Pakistani Dhaw place from Karachi. So definitely it was an information which they have got that this was from the Pakistan, that is a place in Karachi called as Dhaw, and this was meant to be sent to western countries and to Australia. And the Narcotics Control Bureau, that is NCB, which has taken up the entire investigation of the drug seizure, week-long coordinated operation, also looks into the possibility whether there is any terrorist organizations which have been involved in the smuggling of the drugs, so that why they are looking at the possibility of terrorist organization, because they have also found possession of sophisticated weapons in the Sri Lankan boat, that is Shenaya Dua, which was transferred from Pakistani Dhau place from Karachi. So this is very, very important news from internal security. So when we are talking about internal security, here we would be focusing that whether there would be some kind of terrorist organizations being involved, and also in regards to the drugs smuggling. So from two different topics, from internal security, from GS paper 3, from mains perspective, you can focus on this and how the operation has taken place involving the defense, intelligence, central intelligence agency and other drug law enforcement agencies like NCB. So definitely this is an information which you can focus for internal security. And there is another news which talks about the beneficiaries of Roshni Act have approached the Supreme Court. So we will look at the keyword here is Roshni Act. So the Jammu and Kashmir administration which has nullified the Roshni Act public. So here the petition has been filed in the Supreme Court, that is all the beneficiaries of the Roshni Act, all the beneficiaries of the Roshni Act has appealed or they have filed a petition in the Supreme Court of saying that these beneficiaries were not even given a chance or they were not heard by the Jammu and Kashmir High Court when they have passed the directions to nullify the Roshni Act. That means they have repealed the Roshni Act. We will look at what is Roshni Act. And beneficiaries have claimed that they were not given any opportunity, and they say that their rights which were acquired under the Roshni Act, which were competent legislatures, were extinguished. With extinguished in the sense they were repealed by just an preemptive order by the Jammu and Kashmir administration, which has actually passed the direction, that is the Jammu and Kashmir High Court has passed the direction that the beneficiaries of the Roshni Act are now no more active or they have been extinguished. So the keyword is Roshni Act and the beneficiaries of Roshni Act and the Jammu and Kashmir High Court and Jammu and Kashmir administration. Now we will look at Roshni Act. So this Roshni Act was passed by the J&K legislature in the year 2001, and why it was passed was the Roshni Act, Roshni Act confers the ownership rights. This is a keyword. Roshni Act confers the ownership rights on occupants of the state land, that is Jammu and Kashmir, so that they would raise 25,000 crore for the Hydel projects which it was supposed to be taken up. But actually what was collected, which was supposed to be collected, is 25,000 crore for Hydel project, which will be conferred to the ownership rights of the occupants of the state land, wherein the Hydel projects was supposed to come up, but only 76 crore was collected. And again in the year 2018, the then Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, that is Satyapal Malik, has repealed the act. Please do understand this Roshni Act is very important in regards to the prelims as well as mains perspective. And this act, that is Roshni Act, was repealed in the year 2018 by the then Lieutenant Governor Satyapal Malik, and later on again High Court has also scrapped the Roshni Act, and it has later on, that is High Court has directed the authorities to retrieve the land from the occupant. So definitely the ownership rights are now not in action. So the land which was under XYZ owner, now the authorities were directed by the High Court once the Lieutenant Governor Satyapal Malik then has repealed the act in 2018 to be retrieved. That means the land should be retrieved by the or from the occupants. Not that means now the occupants do not have the ownership right of the land by repealing the Roshni Act, which was actually passed in the year 2001 to raise 25,000 crore for Hydel project. So this is very crucial information in regards to the J&K Roshni Act or beneficiaries of Roshni Act. Now we will look at another news which talks about renewable sector. So our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has emphasized on the importance of investing in the renewable sectors. So he has spoken at the inaugural session, that is the session is Global Renewable Energy Investment Meetings and Expo. So this session is Global Renewable Energy Investment Meeting and Expo, and there he has made it very clear that even though the investments into the renewable sector is not affordable, but still the government is investing in the renewable energy so that the investments made by the government would bring down the cost of the renewable energy or renewable sectors equipments. So certainly the emphasis by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the Global Renewable Energy Investment Meeting is making it very clear that the need for investing in the renewable energy, and it says that the India is definitely coming up with the renewable energy deployment plans. This is the keyword, renewable energy deployment plans, which in the coming decade will generate the business opportunities which will be worth $20 billion in a year, for a year. So this is the main intention of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, emphasizing on the need for investment in the renewable energy, because they have, that means India has a plan, that is India's renewable energy deployment plan, and this will likely to generate business opportunity worth $20 billion and definitely wanting or inviting the investors and various businessmen to join India's unparalleled journey in renewable energy. In India's unparalleled journey in renewable energy. And certainly he is inviting the global investors to join India's unparalleled journey, because this will expand the power generation capacity so that each and every citizen will have access to the electricity, and the country's renewable energy capacity now is the fourth largest in the world. Definitely he says that the country, that is India's renewable energy capacity, which is now the fourth largest in India, is certainly India's unparalleled journey to expand power generation. And he has also made it very clear that in the last 6 years India has increased the installation of renewable energy capacity by 2.5 times, and the renewable energy capacity is growing at a faster speed among all major countries in the world, and India is certainly the fourth largest in the world in regards to renewable energy capacity building. And definitely India is showing to the world, or sending a message to the world, that sound environment policies, this is a keyword here, sound environment policy can also be a sound economics. So this could be the question in the mains, that sound environment policies can also be sound economics. Discuss, or it could be comment. Sound environment policies can also be sound economics, and the Prime Minister of India has urged the global investors to consider or to invest in India, because Recently, the Finance Ministry has come up with a scheme called as Production Linked Incentive Scheme, and focusing on the Production Linked Incentive Scheme, there is a possibility that the global investors should focus on India and can tap the new scheme which India has brought in regards to the Atmanirbhar Bharat Production Linked Incentive Scheme, especially for the manufacturing sector, that is high efficiency solar power models in India. So the keyword here is sound environment policies, sound economics, and then production linked incentive scheme, and then high efficiency solar power models. So these are all very crucial information which you can imbibe them as a short notes for your mains examination, that is in regards to the answer writing. So definitely this is again very important, that is renewable energy or renewable sector. So environment, in regards to the environment or energy sector, you can use this entire analysis for mains short notes or short notes for the mains examinations. How the production linked incentive which for the solar power modules can attract the global investors so that they can tap the scheme which has been introduced in India. And now we will focus at the recapitulate of the reviving entire revision what we have discussed now. And this is in regards to Prime Minister which has spoken about one nation, one election, wherein if it is not there, he said that the development has been hampered because each and every few months there is election which is going on, and he wanted a single voter list to be come up for all the elections, right from the Sarpanch elections to the MP elections. And in regards to the first wave of vaccination, the government is focusing on covering the 30 crore Indians. And High Court, this in regards to this, we have looked at the AP government versus AP High Court. AP government versus AP High Court, wherein they have spoken about the 2008 Supreme Court verdict, wherein the judges should not interfere into the executive functions. And here this again we have looked at that internal security, part of internal security focusing on terrorism and drug trafficking. Terrorism and drug trafficking, how it will be useful for the internal security from mains perspective. And Roshni Act, how the beneficiary of Roshni Act have moved or approached the Supreme Court, that in the Jammu and Kashmir High Court they were not given response or they were not given an opportunity to talk. And this in regards to the renewable sector, how Prime Minister is saying that there is a need for investment in the renewable sector so that in the future there would be 20 billion potential every year while we invest in the renewable sector. So this again in regards to the energy sector we can focus for mains perspective. This again in regards to the Roshni Act polity point of view we can focus this. So I hope this session was an informative session, knowledgeable, and it would also be a very important news for both for mains examination as well as prelims examination. So I would say a very big thank you to all and a good luck to you all, and then do maintain consistency and stick to your schedule and take care of your physical health and mental health. And do like the video, share the video, and subscribe the English medium AKS IAS Academy YouTube channel, and visit AKS IAS Academy website, and also subscribe the Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy, that is Advanced Knowledge System. And definitely I will see you again at tomorrow at 7:30 AM for the daily news analysis. Thank you very much.